What's up, y'all? This is a eulogy for Christopher Sean Lyons, my best friend. Chris and I had an agreement that if I passed away first, he would do the eulogy at my funeral. And if he passed away first, I would do the eulogy at his. We were supposed to be best man at each other's weddings. If either one of us ever would have gotten married, we didn't, haven't, and won't be. Anyway, there was no funeral for Chris, so I did not have the opportunity to eulogize my brother, and I've been struggling with the fact that I didn't deliver on that promise to him. Although I get it was out of my control. Today is Sunday, Eagles-Cowboys game tonight. So I'm wearing all the Eagles stuff, defending NFC champions, because there's not much in life that Chris loved more than the Philadelphia Eagles. Nothing more that he hated much more than the Dallas Cowboys. So even though I can't eulogize my brother at his funeral, I feel like this is the best way available for me to fulfill my promise. And it just feels right that I do it on Eagles-Dallas Day. Dallas sucks. Chris is my best friend for a really, really long time. We met in 9th grade at Franklin Learning Center, 15th and Mount Vernon, North Philly. We played soccer together in high school. We played basketball in the streets together. FLC is a performing arts high school. I went there for creative writing. I was a drummer and an MC. A lot of y'all probably don't know it. Chris was actually a singer, a really good singer who never took advantage of his talents. And I told him that to the very end. But the man could actually sing. Chris loved the Eagles. He loved Franklin Learning Center. He was involved with the Alumni Association up until his final day. I'm involved with our Alumni Association. Yo, everybody from FLC that's watching this, Chris loved y'all. You know he did. He loved the school. Y'all meant a lot to him, for real. Chris loved the Uptown Theater on Broad Street in North Philly. That, if you don't know, the Uptown was to Philly what the Apollo is to Harlem. And Chris is involved in the nonprofit it's been dilapidated and abandoned for decades, and Chris is trying to get it revitalized and operational again. He was on the board of directors for the Uptown Community Development Corporation. And that was just another extension of his love for North Philly. He was from 24th and Cambria. Chris was proud of that. Some of the best times of my life were spent standing on the corner at 24th and Cambria, drinking 40s of Old English. And yeah. Look, I got to be Chris's friend from the time he was 14 years old until 57. That's a long fucking time. The man never wavered from being my friend. We argued, we fought. We never physically fought, but we fought, we argued. There were times when we went without talking to each other, but we also knew that if he needed me, if I needed him, it was just a phone call and shit was squashed, no problem. If you don't know much about me personally, I'm the loyalest motherfucker you can have as a friend. I'll take a bullet for you if I love you. I'm that person. But I'm also really an asshole sometimes. I'm difficult, I'm ornery, loud, opinionated, stubborn, set in my ways. So at times in my life when other people have abandoned me, Chris really never did. The man just was there for so many important things in my life. We graduated from high school together. Hank Gathers, who went to Dobbins and led the nation in scoring and rebounding his senior year at Loyola Marymount, was a friend of ours that we used to play pickup basketball with. And I remember that being like one of the first losses that was like really like hit close to home, because it was one of our peers that went down, and we were in our early 20s, and we lost so many friends after that to violence, and to the point that we stopped counting. And for the most part, when I had to go to a funeral, I knew that Chris would be there also. And it's just crazy that now it's Chris that's being eulogized, and it's not going to be going to any more funerals with me. He loved Mama's Pizzeria's cheesesteaks on Belmont Avenue in Mount Kenwood. Yo, the greatest cheesesteaks on planet Earth, bar none. I agree with that. When I go back home, I want a Mama's cheesesteak, but it's just gonna be weird to have to do it and not call Chris and be like, yo, you and Carlos come meet me at Mama's while I watch you eat 3 cheesesteaks. You greedy ass. When Mi Vida Loca, was in a car accident, April 7th, 1991. Chris was a passenger. I was pronounced dead at the scene. So literally when I died, Chris was there. And now here I am. And I'm having to watch Chris die, only he didn't come back. He gave jobs and opportunities to so many people. He had Lyons Den Entertainment. He really honestly cared about his artists. The man was such a hard worker. I feel like he got robbed because he wanted a family so bad, and he never had a wife or children. And like up until the very end, he was holding out to find that love, and it just never came, not in a romantic sense. And that seems so unfair because he was so deserving of a good woman. Sorry, y'all, I don't mean to ramble. There was a time when I was told I would never walk again and spend some time in a wheelchair, and literally the man carried me. Like, not figuratively, like, oh, he carried me, now I was down. No, this motherfucker literally picked me up and carried me. Thank God he never needed me to do the same, because I wouldn't have been able to lift his big ass. And then there were times when like Chris's, utilities got cut off, and it was February, and I would just like go buy him like a kerosene heater, and like that's just what family does. If y'all know me, a lot of people know I'm adopted. I don't know any biological family. Never really close with anybody coming up, and so Chris is the closest I have to a brother than I ever will. I mean, not even closest. The man is he proved to be my brother. When the Sixers won the championship, he was right there with me celebrating with the rest of our people from high school. When they won in 2001 in the Eastern Conference Finals and they were going crazy on Broad Street, me, Chris, and Carlos felt like kings that night. I consumed a lot of Old English 800 in my life. Most of it was Chris. A lot of it at 24th and Cambria. Man, we've been harassed and beaten up by police together. The man literally has pushed me out of the way of gunfire when bullets were flying overhead and we were in the wrong place at the wrong time and got caught in crossfire. There have been times when I was bleeding and he literally was applying direct pressure. So he's been there for me like few other people ever have. He took his driving test and he failed his driving test 2 times in my car and passed it on the third. When Boys II Men were discovered by Michael Bivins, I happened to be standing next to Michael Bivins, and then on the other side of me was Chris. We did radio together, Princeton University, WPRB. We were in 2 groups, King Disciples and the Funk Creators together, hip hop groups. That was just my homie, like my brother. And I'll leave y'all with this. I had a dream on a Tuesday night about Chris. A dream that I remember when I woke up, and I don't have too many dreams about anybody that I remember. And if I do, it's about women. So for the first time in my life, I have a dream that I remember about Chris. And it made no sense. It was a really quick scene, right? But so we played a lot of pickup basketball all over North Philly growing up on the courts. And we spent a lot of time at Mander, 33rd and Diamond playing. So anyway, in the dream, like we're at 33rd Diamond, I'm playing, it's just like a pickup game. And Chris is on the sidelines watching, and my team ends up winning. But when we come off, Chris gives me a pound, and I was like, you need me to get ready to go now, to go with you. Because he must have driven or whatever. And because we won, we had winners, so I had another game to play if I wanted. And he said, nah, you stay here and handle your business. I'll see you when you get home. And me, the typical asshole, in the dream, I'm looking at one of our friends and I was like, is this motherfucker high? What is he talking about? When you get home. And I was like mocking him, I'm like, well, when you get home, I'll see you when you get home. And I was like, does this motherfucker know, like, we don't live together? What the fuck is he talking about, right? But he had this smile on his face that was like he looked younger and healthier and like happy. And Chris was sick for a really long time and struggling worse than people knew with his health. He was in a lot of pain for a lot of years. But in this dream, it seemed like a flashback because we both seemed younger, right? Like back in the day when we were still playing on the courts in the city. And anyway, I mentioned it to 1 or 2 friends. I'm like, yeah, I had this crazy ass dream about Chris. I said to our friend Angel, my sister, Chris's sister, I look like same thing, not blood, but family. And yo, Chris loved you so much, Angel. Like, I know you're watching this. Girl, he loved you. Anyway, I was just like, weird dream. I just had like a crazy ass dream, whatever. That was on Tuesday. On Thursday, I got a call from our friend Tila. Tila, I know you're watching this. Tila, he loved you. We both love you. I know how much Chris appreciated you. So anyway, no one had been able to get in touch with Chris for a few days, and a welfare check was done, and unfortunately the police found Chris passed away alone in his house. And Teal was a Philadelphia police officer, so she found out really quick. Word got to her, and then she called me to tell me that Chris had died, and I started calling all of our friends to let them know. I'm gonna leave y'all with this. I don't know what your spiritual or religious beliefs are, but what didn't make sense to me at the time in that dream, I know in my heart, was Chris let me know he was okay. And he went back home, not to a physical house. So when he told me, nah, I'm good, you stay here and finish what you gotta do, I'll see you when you got home. Even though Chris was found on Thursday, they believe he passed away sometime on Tuesday. And that's when I had the dream, and I'm so sad and lost without my brother. But I feel so blessed that he had an opportunity to say goodbye to me and to let me know he's okay. So hopefully I'm recording this, like I said, not only to hopefully give myself some closure, but all of y'all to just know, if Chris didn't tell you directly, he told me, he'll see us when we get home, and he's okay. I love you, brother. I'll see you on the other side.